My last video, I talked about Conor McGregor fighting Charles Oliveira just because it's a money fight, and even though that fight probably won't happen anytime soon, that's a fight that people would pay to see, and I would get views for talking about him. Now on to the more realistic fight with Oliveira and Gaethje. This is actually a very intriguing fight in terms of MMA skills. Gaethje's not really much of a wrestler, but he is such a nasty guy on the stand-up. He's such a dog on the feet. Um, you can argue and say that he actually handled Chandler on the feet better than Oliveira did, simply because he was never really hurt in any kind of danger in that fight, even though it was a back and forth fight. But you can also argue the fact that Oliveira, even though he got hurt in the fight, he actually finished Chandler, and that's something Gaethje could not do in that fight. Given he won a decision, and it was back and forth. Now they both had wars with Michael Chandler. The question is, who's better at what position? Meaning, who would be better, slightly better on the feet, and who would be slightly better on the ground? Oliveira obviously has the ground advantage. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I've already said in the last video, but he's had a lot of submission wins. I don't know if he would try to take Gaethje down right away, but I think he can hang with him on the feet, given he's actually knocked out Michael Chandler, and Gaethje could not do it. Now Gaethje can knock out Oliveira, but just because he's had 17, 18 knockouts, he actually the same thing can be said. Like Oliveira could not finish Tony Ferguson, but Gaethje actually finished off Tony Ferguson. It was a late stoppage, but he still got the knockout, TKO, whatever you want to call it. If this fight's on the feet, I'd give a slight edge to Gaethje. It wouldn't be a big edge just because Oliveira's so talented on the feet. Like I said, he can have leg kicks, the knees, the punches. He can throw elbows. I think for Gaethje to win that fight on the feet by knockout, it's very possible. It'd be the most likely outcome for him. I don't think he'd win a decision over Oliveira just because I think Oliveira overall has a better skill set. Probably it's his time more. And I think Gaethje's best chances are to not let Oliveira get in his face and hit him. He needs to keep his distance and hit him with jabs like he did with Tony. Maybe take a big shot or two, but land 5 or 6, and just stick him and move. Because I think Oliveira's more in his prime than Tony Ferguson is right now, or just simply has more momentum than he does. I don't want to judge Tony on here because I like him as a fighter, but back to Oliveira. For Oliveira, he needs to get in Justin's face and keep the fight clinched. He needs to hit him with elbows. He needs to hit him with uppercuts, punches. And if he is at distance, hit him with some leg kicks. Try to mix it up, maybe go for a jab, body kick, low kick, head kick if you can. Don't make for Oliveira, don't be too risky on the feet. If you go for a big knockout head kick or a flying knee or something crazy, that'll probably come back to bite you because I think Gaethje's a little bit better on the feet than he is. But obviously, if he wants to win the fight and his best chance would be to take him down, but Gaethje's been pretty decent at stopping takedowns, unless you're Khabib. So I think Oliveira would win this fight. I don't know if he'd finish Gaethje just because Gaethje continues to get better as a fighter. I think he'd get the better of it on the feet if he doesn't get knocked out. I'd have Oliveira winning a very close unanimous decision, 48-47, something like that. I don't think it'd be quite one-sided. It'd be 50-45, maybe 49-46. You might have Gaethje win a round or two with momentum on his side, but unless Gaethje were to land a big knockout or to somehow have the edge and keep the fight in his favor, like keeping his distance and his popping him, I think Oliveira would actually win the fight just because I think he has more skills. I think he's a little bit smarter, and I think he would probably mix up the takedowns when he gets real close. Whereas Gaethje might think he's gonna get hit in the face or get kicked. Oliveira goes in real quick and goes in for a takedown. And even if he takes it to the ground, I'm not sure he would submit Gaethje. He's tapped before, but that was to Khabib. I think he would just take him down and probably go for submissions. I think Gaethje would defend him very well, but I think given the fact that he's defending and he's on his back or on the ground and Oliveira's controlling the fight, I still think Oliveira would win a decision. I don't think he'd knock out Gaethje, but anything's possible. He's already been knocked out twice anyway, so I got Oliveira by unanimous decision if that fight happens.